Well, there's a saying that the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step.
Yeah, that's right. But for some people, taking that first step can be very, very frightening. And here to help you push you beyond your fears and limits is Willard Barth. He is a motivational speaker and coach. Welcome here to the show.
Thank you. Very, very honored to be here.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So, Willard, a lot of people are just scared, intimidated by change. Why do you think that is?
You know, people go through their life experiences and they create this bubble they live in, which we call their comfort zone. And the challenge is people default to that comfort zone. The reality is change is happening all the time. Weather changes, social situation changes, economy changes, we change as our bodies change. And it's just fear and limiting beliefs that keep them in that space.
Tell us a little bit about your past, because there have been some things that happened in your life that kind of led you to this moment right here. What happened and what got you over the edge?
Quick highlight reel, I lost my leg when I was 8 years old to bone cancer. Put me on two very diverse paths. One, I became a mega achiever. So I lettered in high school football, I lettered in high school wrestling. I was the first licensed amputee motorcyclist in Pennsylvania, and I had my first business by the time I was 19 years old.
So that's very motivational right there in and of itself.
Downside was the psychology of things. I had terrible self-esteem. I thought that I was a bad person while I lost my legs, so I started drinking and using drugs at 13 years old. Did that heavily. So 19, I had my first business. 20, I was facing 5 years in jail, and I ended up doing a year between jails, halfway houses, and rehabs from 22 to 23.
Wow. What did you learn in your experience in jail?
It's actually funny. In jail was the first place that I was exposed to a personal development self-help book where I read Think and Grow Rich. And that started a domino effect on really starting to look at why I was doing what I did that wasn't the life that I planned on having when I was a child.
Yeah. So that's sort of a tipping point for you. What kind of led you to say, hey, you know, after reading this book, I have to move forward with my life with a positive change and try to help other people?
It was continuing to get in more trouble. I mean, what really initiated the change was the leverage of pain. I got out of Baltimore City Jail on August 8th of 1988. I had $40 in my pocket and nowhere to go. Well, no home to go to, so I had to hitchhike from Baltimore 250 miles to my family's place in Pennsylvania. And I did a lot of thinking on that journey of just, like I said, this was not the life that I expected to have for myself when I was a kid, and I had to take responsibility on going, I'm in this position because of the choices I made.
Yeah, and it probably was overwhelming and such a negative thing at first for you, but would you say you changed it into a positive?
Absolutely, absolutely. Every one of the worst experiences in my life, people ask, what would you go back and change? And I wouldn't change any of it because all of it is part of the fiber that makes up who I am and what I do now.
Yeah, and it has to be fulfilling for you to be able to help other people.
Very much so, very much.
Yeah. Now tell us about some of these success stories that you've had over the years. You've been able to help many, many people, and part of that is in the music industry. Tell us all about that.
Yeah. Well, I've been on my own journey of turning my life around for 26 years. So there's a lot of personal success stories. I've run several businesses, developed a couple of different software programs. Pre-turning my life around, I made my living as a musician. And then after I got sober and started cleaning my life up, I finally fulfilled a dream of recording my own CD. Yeah. One of the tracks on that CD made it to 24 on the charts overseas.
Wow.
I ended up
impressive.
He's big overseas, huh?
Thank you.
Not bad.
I ended up developing a friendship with a gentleman by the name of Les Paul. Don't know if all of your listeners would know him, but
might have heard of him.
You've heard of him.
Yeah. And was able to perform on Broadway with him over 100 times in the 17-year friendship that we had. And then in 1998, I attended a Tony Robbins seminar. And because I'd been doing so much work on myself, people who were sitting around me were going, you know, help us understand these things. Yeah. His staff recognized it. By the end of the weekend, I was offered a job as a coach for Tony's company, did some work there, then moved on to start my own company. And since that time, God, success stories, just helping businesses turn things around. One of my greatest success stories is not mine. It's a gentleman from India who watched a video series that I put out on the internet, and went from being this no self-esteem person in a junior college to actually running a department, a lab in one of the largest universities in Delhi, because again, he took all the action, but he credits me with giving him the skills and the resources to turn his life around and just...
That's gotta make you feel great.
It does.
And we can read all about this in your book?
Yes, you can. Absolutely. The Anatomy of Transformation is the book. It's going to be coming out probably in March. We're still working on some of the edits right now.
Very good. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you very much for having me.
All right. Still to